So yesterday there was a guy on Facebook that had responded to a friend's comment of mine, or of his rather, in a very degrading manner. I don't remember the exact post, but this was something regarding his faith and his belief in God, and this person just posted something so degrading. So I commented back, which I almost never do. I almost never include myself in any kind of Facebook war or anything like that. Because I just know that the preface of it is just off. I mean, arguing with someone, online, it doesn't really get the point across. You can't read emotions, and you can't see reactions. So, but for some reason I did. I responded, and it turned into this big explosion of a bunch of things that I said, which were later regretful. I didn't say anything too awful, but I let my zeal turn into more just flat out anger and a fierceness that would not be desirable to God. So with that, the quote that I wrote for today says, when we're face to face with non-believers in a confrontation, the question we must immediately ask ourselves is, are they seeing Jesus in my words, or are they seeing the devil? You see, because as Christians, we're not of this world, so when we encounter non-believers in these confrontations, we must prove to them that God is love. We cannot control what they choose to believe. However, we can control how they see us and how they see the Word of God acting in our lives. So, in my sense, this was a negative effect, and it was a backslide event where I then had to suck up my pride and explain to the individual that this is not how God is. God does not, which they knew, that I'm an imperfect person saved by grace, and that I am repentant of my actions. And it's a hard thing to do, but it's the right thing to do when you let your passion turn into anger and you begin degrading people as they've degraded your religion or your belief system or whatever it may be. You see, people are going to choose what they want to believe, and you can't control that. All you can do is show your love. So, in that sense, I was much like Peter, being extremely zealous. In John 18:10, we read that he cuts off the Roman soldier's ear, when he goes to arrest Jesus. And Jesus obviously was not happy about that. He had to do a little bit of handiwork on the soldier. And in Matthew 16:23, when Jesus predicts his death for the first time, Peter becomes zealous. First of all, I will just go ahead and mention that the word zealous can mean a few different things. It can mean passionate, fierce, intense, things like that. So Peter gets up and he says, in Matthew 16:22, he says, "Never, Lord, this shall never happen to you," meaning that God will not die. In verse 23, Jesus turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan, you're a stumbling block to me. You do not have in mind the things of God, but the mind of things of men." So, in that way, those two scriptures can show us that God did not intend us to show His love through a zeal that is more fierce or intense in a combative way, rather a passion or a fierceness or intensity based out of love, not out of the world or out of anger, things like that. So, like I said, it was very, very tough for me to go back and backtrack the thoughts and the words that I said and suck up my pride, and I know that I would be in more trouble in God's eyes. He would think less of me for letting that go. Even though I was fighting for Him, it was the sense that I did it. It was under the circumstances and the words I chose that was wrong. Therefore, it would have been better to say nothing at all. So I had to backtrack and show the individual that that's not how we act. So I just wrote this last piece. It's good to be passionate, but we must show our passion in a loving way. when under persecution, not in a combative way. Again, John 18:10 and Matthew 16:23, we can learn a lot from Peter if we're hot-tempered or hot under the collar, and hopefully we can grow from that, and we can show the love of God in a loving way, not in a combative or a fierce way that may scare others or may confirm others' suspicions where they think Christians are all the same or we're closed-minded or anything like that, because we know that it's not about any of that.